of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good afternoon or good evening. Welcome to an A.H.A.D moment, the calm before the storm. I'm Fakir Abdulaziz. I'm with my brother Adam Hanif Salim, and with us our esteemed counselors. Our esteemed counselors.
You don't know what to call them now.
Lord Holy
What
Apostle
do we
Dean
call him?
Salim. Lord Holy Apostle Dean Salim and the Holy Queen Mother Rabia Salim. May I this peace and other blessing be within and about your presences. Always, can I share with the audience sometimes when we come up with subject matters, I'm rolling in my head subject matters, sometimes different ones and stuff like that. But A.H.A.D, the Lord A.H.A.D, through his messenger oftentimes, and through you, Holy Queen Mother, oftentimes come up with a subject that's much better, something that I need more to talk about. A subject that it has been said that we really didn't want to deal with on the show concerning the conflict that's going on with the Muslim communities in America now. Considering what's going on since 9/11 and the overall, feelings that's going on against towards the Muslim community and within the Muslim community. In particular, on the show, we saw a newscast during the taping of the show, after like a couple days prior to the taping of the show, by Diane Sawyer, and she was interviewing a series of Muslims, mostly the Muslims from the immigrant communities, the non-American communities, whether they're first generation or second generation, and the different comments they have about their patriotism, how they feel about America, how they feel about America and why they feel like they're beholden to defend America. So, and in that we found some interesting comments. I found interesting comments. They were talking about being put upon by trying to defend themselves, trying to defend themselves for the acts of those who are in conflict, the terrorists, those who are in conflict with America, and the different ways that they do their different acts of bringing about war.
Okay, let me wake up and address what you're talking about. I didn't want to talk about this on our show because the Miss Sawyer, Diane Sawyer, I believe her name is, the news correspondent, called for Muslims, people of the faith, to stand up and speak against, the so-called Muslims over in the East, who are the terrorists, what have you. And like you had said to me, you seen part of the documentary, and many of the Muslims were saying they were afraid of those terrorists themselves and that they were patriotic Americans.
And that they were afraid of the people asking them to stand for America.
Yeah, of course. Yes. They're afraid of the correspondents, the news media. They're afraid of the Caucasian masters, in this society. Holy Queen Mother says something very significant to me this morning, which we both already agree, we already know. She said that African Americans need to remember and realize that we are still slaves in this society. I can imagine people hearing me saying that in droves of, what do you mean slaves? We're not slaves. Yes, we are. Look in your dictionary and see what a slave is. A slave is something secondary to a master. Now, you might not want to accept the fact that you are slaves, and not only are African American slaves, but there are Caucasian slaves and people of every race that are slaves to someone in this society. They may go and get paid for their slavery on what they call jobs, but they're slaves on those jobs. We just don't realize brutal slavery now. And when I say that, what I mean is some people don't realize that they are being brutalized mentally, spiritually, and morally as slaves. They only then identify with physical slavery. Now, those hadithites that call themselves Muslims in the way of Muhammad that have become terrorists are not of the cloth or the word of Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad was of the same cloth and the same word as Jesus. And Jesus was not the Christ. Jesus was enlightened by the Christ. The Christ is the crusher, the creator. That's the Christ, the master of all things, which all things are slaves unto it. So we need to accept what we are, first of all, recognize what we are before, so that we can recognize what we are not. You have our leaders running around here, African-American leaders running around here saying, get rid of the word nigger, don't call nigger, fine them, we gonna fine them. Sharpton in New York want people to get fined for saying the word nigger. Why should I want to forget the word nigger? In the African-American community, in the hood, we all know that nigger has a number of meanings. And nigger applies to Caucasians, Africans, and every other race of people there is to us. Because to us, a nigger is an ignorant person. And when we see or we hear about a nigger being referred to an African American, we know that that is relative to a Negro ignorant person. A niggerant person. A nigger. You understand? An ignorant nigger, a Negro. Negro meaning black. Although we are not black. But they've called us black. And we should not want to get rid of the word nigger, because just like they want us to pardon them, the Caucasian Americans, who were the masters of the African slaves who were captured, and put into this country, forced in this country, and forced to pay taxes where we should not be paying taxes, because we didn't sign up to be Americans. But we should be afforded all the rights and liberties of the Americans because we are forced here. And now we have nowhere else to go. We have no other home. And we should not be asked to be patriotic Americans. We don't know nothing other than American. And the only reason any of us would not be patriotic is because we're trying to maintain our identity. See, in being patriotic in this so-called democratic country, they want you to give up your identity to be patriotic. We still are not treated fair across the board in judgments of the courts. But they want us to be patriotic. What is patriotic? Take the smack and turn the other cheek? Forgive what our slave masters has done? Forget that they the ones created that word nigger? For us? Forget that they made us niggers? Ignorant Negroes? Who created the terrorists? They did. They created the terrorists. The masters of men in these societies created the terrorists. How did they create the terrorists? because they, as a groups of people of all races, refuse to accept what Jesus truly said, what Moses truly said, what Muhammad truly said, what Siddhartha Gautama truly said, what Lao Shu truly said. And I could go on and on and on and on. They refuse to accept what they truly brought as a message, as messages from the Lord Most High, Allah, Amen, that they call God. They refuse to accept it. And by them accepting it, by them rejecting it, they made room for these terrorists to grow. So they are at fault for the terrorists' very existence. Those people who call themselves Muslims to identify with Islam, which they are breaking every rule, every law, every order of Islam, of true Islam, the same as the Christian society who were just like them, who created the Crusaders and all these rejectors of faith who go around bombing people in other countries, other nations, and they don't let the common folks in America know about it. Why? They don't let them know why we as the American people are hated all around the world. Huh? I'll give you one for instance, Japanese. Those 2 bombs they dropped in Japan. They want to be forgiven and pardoned, and they want that forgotten. But those people are still suffering from that, the greatest terroristic act that had been placed on a human race of people to date. They talking about Hitler and what he did to the Jews. That was minuscule to what the Americans did to the Japanese. They said, oh, because they bombed Pearl Harbor. They knew they was coming to bomb Pearl Harbor. They knew they was fighting, but the Lord said, you don't kill the innocent to get at the guilty. They killed innocent people. Huh? Now, we have masters over here and masters over there and masters everywhere fighting amongst themselves and using the people, the common folk, like pawns on a chess table. Still playing that game of chess. And then they say, who's at fault? They call us Muslims. They call the people of Islam the moderate Muslims, they call us. Why you don't stand up and talk against these people? We're not relative to them people. We can't relate to them people. I can't relate to somebody strapping a bomb up on themselves and walking into a building. They're not relative in mind, spirit, heart, or anything to us. And why is it now that they want to call the slaves to help them when they have not given us our freedom yet? How they going to claim that we have freedom because we're free to be educated under their education? We're free to be given history under their history. We're free to be opened up in our minds into their culture. We're free to have what they want us to have. Where's the freedom in that? Elijah Muhammad said simply, let us separate and have a state of our own. Hate, hate, hate. He's preaching hate. How is it that I want a house of my own like you got a house of yours and now we talking hate? You are the creators of those terrorists. You made room for those terrorists to exist. You made it so that the terrorists would come to the United States of America. For you think you're going to keep on going to these countries, bombing these countries, doing all conniving things, having your covert wars, your secret wars, and doing all your things with your agencies, your CIAs, and all these different people over there, and nothing is going to happen, no repercussions? And then using us, throwing us down like we're some dirty cloth for anybody to pick us up. Now that they didn't pick some of our people up who don't know no better, now you disturbed? we're not good enough for you, and you don't want us to be good enough for anybody else. What it is, Sister Diane, we understand, some of us who are aware understand that your men folk, you have allowed your men folk to go about and create this false religion of Islam, to relate the false religion of Islam back to your people as though it is the true religion of Islam. Your men folk, they know the true Islam. And they know that they are propagating the false Islam and raising that up so that they can manipulate the world and be in the shenanigans of that false religion, just like Christianity is the false religion of what Moses brought. Moses brought the truth. Jesus brought the truth. Paul brought falsehood. Just like Muhammad brought the truth, and all those so-called relatives and friends and descendants of the companions of Muhammad brought the falsehood. You're not going to change the Lord of all worlds. I don't care how angry you get. I don't care how much you don't like conversations like this. But we understand that you know your men folk has gone and done this thing and they have gone overboard. Now you crying for help. Help us, please, Muslims, help us. Well, I tell you what you do. What you need to do is you need to go around to all your Caucasian jinn, all your powerful Caucasian people, men, women, and children. You need to go to all your institutions and re-educate them about the truth of Islam, about the truth of Christianity, about the truth of the African slaves that you still have here, about the truth of the Native Americans, about the truth of your own selves and your forefathers who came over here as thugs and hooligans and took this country and have been creating problems all over the world. That's what you need to do. You need to convince your people to stop putting this trash all across the media in these different theatrical shows and what have you, to mislead the people. And then maybe the Lord Most High will let up on you. Because see, we can't do nothing for you. We can't do nothing for ourselves. And the people you asking to help you, they have no heart, because they have turned away from Islam already, most of them. Those so-called moderates. They're trying to be of your way. They're not trying to be of Allah's way, of A.H.A.D Allah's way. No, they're trying to be of the way of the world. So they are not the true Muslims. And those terrorists, they don't want to hear nothing what they're going to say, because they can't identify with them. They think that they are kafirs. Huh? They have been brainwashed to believe that Islam means war. The only war that Islam means is holy war within oneself. For one to fight themselves in the way that I'm telling you, you need to fight yourself and your menfolk and make your menfolk stand up for the truth. But you wait until you know the Lord has come down. You know the messenger of the Lord, Amen, is here today. You know it. And you see the signs of the time all through nature, all through the land, all with the bombings and the planes coming over here, hitting the World Trade Center. You know the signs. But you, instead of you dealing with truth, you're going to wait until the wrath of A.H.A.D come down on you. And then rely on ignorant, elite Negroes that we know in the hood as niggas, who don't want you to say nigga because they the biggest nigga, they the real niggas. The ones who try to keep the so-called Negroes under control for you. No, you need to go out and straighten out your menfolk. Straighten out them people in Washington. Straighten out them people in Virginia and them various places where you got them agencies running this land. That's what you need to do. Don't call on us, because we can't help you. We go out there and talk, try to talk to them. I'm not talking about myself, because my Lord is protecting me. That's why I'm talking to you in the way I'm talking to you. But you know, you send them people out there, they come back headless. And they know it. That's why they said they afraid of them. But we understand why you calling on us now. See, we becoming more important now. You know, oh, help us. You can understand them. Yeah, we understand them. We know exactly where they're coming from. We've been under terrorism for 500 years. You know, many of us still know that we're not free because we can't even go in certain places in Jersey without running into people who want to be headless, hangers, and burners at the cross. We know what's going on. But you want to keep on acting like, oh, well, you know, it's about peace. You know, you should come and teach us. We don't have to teach you nothing about Islam. You know your people know more about Islam than these African-American so-called Muslims. You know that. You know they know more. You know you're more studied. You know you're more realized about the signs of the time. You know the history better than our people. Our people thinking that you gods. And you allowed it to be. But see, it's too late for you to be calling on us. They say, hey, you know, when chickens come home to roost, huh? When chickens come home to roost. And Malcolm said that, right? When chickens come home to roost. Yeah, you don't want to hear that roosting, boy. You know what I'm saying? That payback be coming back.
That's interesting, Lord. You talk about how they know the religion and stuff like that.
Yeah, they know.
I just read an article in which it said the people that know religion the best, and particularly the Christian religion, in this article, the people that know it the best are atheists and agnostics.
Yes.
The people that claim that they don't believe.
That's right. They know it the best. Yeah. They're more studied and they're more determined to reject it. See, one of the things about the devil, the devil was always going to be more knowledgeable because the devil want to know how it can get over on everybody. So the atheists and agnostic people, they've studied everything. They say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to be free myself. Forget that. You see, religious people aren't so much concerned about the atheists and the agnostic people as they are about the religious people.
And the flip side to this whole situation is that there is some uneducated Caucasian people in this society. And their people enslave them too. So you have to keep different classes of people because you never know when you may need them in a certain way. You understand what I'm saying? Like us being slaves, they pick where we live, they pick how much we make, they pick how much education we could get, where we could get a better job. And now, even some of us that go on and get further education, they make sure that they don't open doors. They pick select people that they open the door for, but the mass majority is always centralized where they want them to be.
And they monitor them. They make sure that they let certain types in because they don't want education to make the mistake of educating the wrong ones where that education become realization.
Right.
They don't want them. They want them to stay ignorant of realization, but educated by their, mathematics and their sciences.
Right. And a lot of people don't even realize, especially our own people, we sleep on so much. We're put in situations where we either have to sell drugs or go to the military. Mm-hmm. We have to go fight their war for them. That makes us slaves.
Yeah, and to survive.
Right. Before, when we were slaves, we went to fight wars so they could set us free. Mm-hmm. They didn't set us free. They just changed the condition where you had to go right back and fight a war so that you could feed your family at home. Okay? Mm-hmm. So we're not free. If we could really get that out of our mind, if we accept the fact that we're slaves, maybe we could make a change, but we're not free.
It is a strange thing, but a lot of brothers can bear witness. A lot of African Americans can bear witness that they don't get the opportunity to meet the human side of a Caucasian man or woman until they go into either military or sports. When they go into the military or sports or paramilitary in certain conditions under paramilitary, which is the police. And if they get in those situations where they have a real need for one another, then they come to know the human side of those people. But aside from that, This society is something different. And I have experienced that. That's why I can say it. You know?
And people listening to the show, they might be thinking like, I'm not a slave. They talking about slavery that been over.
They don't know what slavery is.
Right. I was going to say they can't pick at anybody. And it's not just African-American people. People of any race at any level are answering to somebody at a higher level. You can't say that
slave.
The lowest level to the highest level person, entertainers, actors, and people at those levels are still answering to somebody. Even the President of the United States is answering to somebody.
He answering to a lot of bodies.
Yeah.
He's answering. What are the great signs of that not being free? Now, we know that this man had a Caucasian mother and an African father. Don't tell me they don't treat him like an African American man.
They treat him like a Negro.
They treat him like a nigger.
And he is not a Negro.
And they have
He's an true African American.
Right. But they have no respect for him. They won't call him president. They call him Obama. They do everything to degrade him. And they ain't got nothing to do with his policy. It got everything to do with what they call that one drop of black in him, African in him.
It's like they might be attacking even the perception that they know a lot of people got of him, that they may have of him. It's not so much as killing, it's like going beyond him and killing those people that think.
Right. And do you think that the Caucasian hurt their society by putting this African American man in office? They didn't hurt their society at all. They put it in there so that they could keep rocking us to sleep with thinking that we're free.
Yeah.
Al Sharpton got his feet crossed, thinking, saying all this stuff. All the black people now think they're free because a white man, African American man, sits in a White House. They even talking about what the man is doing inside the house.
Yeah, he can't even be the king of the country inside the palace.
They said
they complaining about the king changing furniture.
Right, and his wife having people flying through the White House. She had,
and you've never heard it before.
Right, a dance company came there for a personal. Some she paid out of her own pocket. And why they keep paying all this stuff out of their pocket?
Yeah,
because they're
nobody else did it.
They're afraid of what they may do to them if they use the White House checkbook.
That's right.
So what is this man representing than another
he's
trick?
He's afraid to act like all the past presidents.
Right. Like they said, we've been bamboozled again. Hoodwinked. That's all that is.
Well, we have to realize, too, that there are over 300 million Caucasians. So many of them are ignorant, uneducated. But we at that halftime.
We're already at halfway point, and we're gonna just about to our half-hour audience. Invite them back next week for the rest of this program. And as such,
who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you